All right, welcome to DC to Be Revolution. This is Noah Volz, and where we're thinking big to live large. Today I have a great opportunity. I'm getting to talk to Dr. Angel Ochoa-Rea, and he's a really personable and caring chiropractor. I'm super excited about this conversation. He's also the owner of LBGT Chiropractic in San Diego. So Dr. Rea, thanks for being here.
Of course. Thanks for having me. I'm really excited to be here.
Yeah, my pleasure. Well, since you have LBGT Chiropractic, I wanted to start by talking to you about diversity. And so I wondered what your experience of diversity has been within the chiropractic community, and if there's any advice you have in terms of creating more inclusivity within that community.
Ooh, that's a good question. That's a loaded question. So I personally found chiropractic to not be very diverse. I've been to a couple different chiropractic institutions, and I found most of it to be very white, straight individuals, for the most part. I'm Latino. I was born in Mexico City. So I think I was one of the handful of Latino students that was at both schools that I went to. So I think historically, chiropractic hasn't been very diverse in regards to different ethnic backgrounds and different sexual orientations. So for me, what that provided was this huge niche to be able to serve a couple different communities. I'm fluent in Spanish, so I have quite a few Spanish-speaking patients. And then I also identify myself as a gay male. So I realized that there was a lack of healthcare providers as a whole, not just chiropractic, but healthcare providers as a whole, that weren't serving the LGBT community and wasn't providing a safe space. So what I mean by a safe space is where someone that identifies as lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender can go and be open and be themselves to their healthcare provider and not feel judged or feel harassed, or just basically tried to make that community. So when I was at Life West, for example, I started a club called Spectrum. And Spectrum was an LGBT club because there was nothing at Life West when I was there that was inclusive of the LGBT community. And to me, that was an issue because there are quite a few LGBT students there. And I felt that was something that was really important to be able to provide. So, yeah, I think there's definitely a lot of work that needs to be done. I think there needs to be more people that are more diverse in the profession to kind of make it a little more inclusive and more welcoming to patients.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks for bringing that up. I mean, I think that's personally a concern of mine, is that chiropractic does not seem to be that inclusive. And as like the middle class white male, do you have any suggestions for somebody like me and what I could do to be more inclusive, to augment my vocabulary so I am more approachable for people within that community?
Yeah, absolutely. I think one of the big things, it was a big lesson for me too, because as a gay guy, I can identify as a gay man, but I wasn't super familiar, for example, with the transgender community. We're not really taught much in school about the transgender community or what a preferred gender pronoun is, for example. I've asked a lot of different people, hey, what's your preferred gender pronoun? And they look at you kind of oddly. So my preferred gender pronoun is male, he, him. So I identify as he, him. Individuals that transition, let's say going from male to female or female to male, sometimes want to be referred to as he or she, and some want to be referred to as them. And so that's a little challenging because we're so used to having a gender or a pronoun associated with an individual. So how do you identify, or how do you talk to someone that identifies as them? So little things like that. So what I did on my website to let basically the whole community know that I'm accepting is I have my preferred gender pronoun on my website. So if you look on my website, I have my name and then I have my preferred gender pronoun he, him. My office intake paperwork has options for gender where you fill it in, so you're not necessarily circling male or female. You fill in your gender. Little things like that allow an individual, let's say that's transgender or considering transitioning, knowing that that office is going to accept them and not necessarily make them feel that they have to be put in a specific box. Because society as a whole loves to put people in boxes and label people. So I think that's one way to really start, is to basically kind of talk about that. I think also to just let people know, let's say for example you identify as a white middle class American, and let's say you want to see other communities other than the LGBT community. Talk about your travels. Say you've traveled the world and been different places. If you have, and if you haven't, I suggest traveling. Because people that tend to travel the world a little bit more tend to be much more inclusive of all communities. My husband's an airline pilot, so what we do is we travel a lot. I've gone to India a couple times on different community service trips. And I feel like that really just helps to make one more diverse and more understanding of the world as a whole, is by experiencing the world.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. I was lucky enough to live in Germany when I was 16, and that experience really changed my outlook and really opened me up to more differing points of view. And I really feel like it made me a lot more tolerant as an individual. So I wanted to backtrack a little bit because I realized I didn't clarify this. So what does the acronym LGBT mean? And you also mentioned that there's an LGBT qualification that you've developed in San Diego. And so can you talk a little bit about that and how that influences people's interactions with others?
So LGBT stands for lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender. And so basically it's just an acronym. There's actually quite a few more letters now. There's also A for asexual, P for pansexual, A for intersex, but it's too many letters. So I only can have so many letters for my business. So that's why I decided to name it LGBT. But in regards to kind of certification, so here in San Diego, I'm part of the LGBT Chamber of Commerce. It's called the Greater San Diego Business Association. And I've worked with that group to develop a LGBT certification process. So basically what the process is a whole bunch of videos you need to watch, the practitioner needs to watch, and then you have to submit your paperwork and your mission statement to the group, and we have to make sure that it's inclusive of the LGBT community, that you have your proper preferred gender pronouns on the paperwork, that the gender options are not just male and female, and that basically you train your whole staff and certify that they've also watched these videos. Because I've had so many patients that have come into my office that are just like, hey doc, I am just so thankful I can come be me. I've been in the lobby before where I hold hands with my girlfriend. This would be a lesbian couple. I feel like the receptionist is giving me a dirty okay. Like that people, when they're in a house, be able to feel welcomed and comfortable and not feel judged and ostracized. And so if you kind of look at my lobby, this is my lobby in my office. I have a couch. Of course, there's everywhere. It's just inappropriate in a healthcare office.
Awesome. Yeah. Thanks for bringing that up. It sounds maybe a little bit complicated, you know, watching the videos and doing everything, but ultimately it's totally worth it. And it probably is not that much time and effort. And all of us need some education in terms of, you know, being more aware of these issues and just being better medical practitioners in general, by being more inclusive. So yeah, thanks for clarifying that. The next question I have for you is about chiropractic school. And you mentioned this a little bit earlier, but I wonder if you felt like you found your tribe in chiropractic school, and you know, how you've seen the landscape become more diverse since you've been out of school.
So I don't know what happened.
Oh yeah, that's great.
I don't know if you got that last tangent of mine.
No, I think I missed a lot of it. If you want to go off of it, I can edit it all and put it in there, and then we'll follow up with this next question.
Whatever you like. I'm a talker, so whatever you want me to do.
Yeah, if you would mention a little bit more about the LGBT qualification.
Okay.
You mentioned the videos and everything, but just talk about why that's relevant and how that is useful.
Do you want me to start at the beginning again about explaining LGBT and then go from there?
Yeah, that'd be great.
All right. Let me know when you're ready.
Okay, I'm ready.
All right, so LGBT, what that stands for is lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender. It's basically an acronym that's used in the community. That's just to abbreviate it a little bit because it can get pretty long. There are also a few other letters, A, which is asexual, P, which is pansexual. It can basically go on indefinitely. So for my business, I decided LGBT was enough, just because I only can fit so many letters in everything I have to write. Now, in regards to a certification process, here in San Diego, I kind of helped develop a certification for healthcare providers, which would be medical doctors, chiropractors, massage therapists, acupuncturists, anyone that's dealing with a patient. And what we decided to do is basically create a system where the practitioner has to watch a series of videos and then take an exam. And in the exam, it asks different questions like, what is a preferred gender pronoun? What is they, them? What does that mean? All these different things. And if they pass that exam, then they're basically certified. And they're also have to show their staff these videos. So anyone that works in your office, being a massage therapist, an acupuncturist, your office manager, your CA, all of them also have to watch these videos that are through various organizations that kind of train healthcare providers on being LGBT competent. And what it basically makes sure is that if, let's say you have a patient in your lobby that is two men, two women, and they hold hands, that they're accepted and not feeling judged. And that certification is something that's really exciting. And then if you're part of this Chamber of Commerce, you have basically a little seal that's next to your name saying that you're an LGBT certified practitioner. So let's say you have a patient that is in the process of coming out. They're about to identify as gay, bisexual, transgender, whatever it may be. They're going to want to go to a doctor's office where they can talk about being themselves and not feel worried about that and feel that it's a safe space. It's an interesting discussion because I often have people say, why did you name your practice LGBT? Like, what is the point? And my point was I wanted people to feel safe. For myself, I had a really hard time coming out as a gay man. I was raised in a Latino Mexican family, super Catholic. I was a Division I tennis player. I played sports my whole life. And so I was really worried about coming out as a gay guy, that people weren't going to accept me, to the point where it was just something I thought I was never going to do. And so I realized that how many other people are out there like me that are in the process of coming out or newly come out and want to be able to go to a space where they can talk about themselves, talk about their sexual history, talk about their partners, and not feel scared or feel bullied or feel shameful. So that was really important, and it's really important for healthcare providers. You don't have to be an LGBT individual to be able to serve the LGBT community. You just have to be LGBT competent and understand that if a man comes in and talks to you about their boyfriend or their husband, that you refer to that person as their boyfriend or husband, not as their friend, because that's super insulting. Like if someone referred to my husband as their friend, that's really insulting to me, because I'm like, that's not my friend, that's my husband. So I feel that these type of certifications are really important, and even if you are not part of the San Diego LGBT Commerce, I will provide links. I'll send them to you, Noah, of these videos that you can watch that people can basically learn how to be LGBT competent healthcare providers and be able to provide a community that's really underserved.
Awesome. Thank you so much for doing that. I feel like there's so much that we can learn as chiropractors on how to serve more diverse communities, and that'll just create more diversity, more inclusivity within the profession as a whole. So yeah, thank you for the work that you've done with the Chamber of Commerce in order to create something like that. And you know, just out of curiosity, I'm wondering if you know, if there's anything in schools. I know you created Spectrum when you were at Life West. Is there any other way that, you know, we can help students while they're in school to get more of this competency?
Yeah, I mean, definitely these links to these videos are a good start. I've been working with Life West to get this integrated into the curriculum. We're trying to figure out where in the program it would make the most sense. For me, I said it's important to have them before clinic, because the last thing I want is a student about to graduate and been dealing with our diverse health center and possibly feeling either the intern or the patient feeling uncomfortable with the interaction. So I'm hoping to try to enter it into, it's been a while since I've been in school, but I remember there was like a student clinic pre-course that you take where you learn all the rules in clinic. We're trying to integrate it into that, and then basically have it where before students graduate, they are certified as an LGBT healthcare provider, so that the whole kind of student body has that baseline, so then they're going out and serving the community, all communities, and it's not an issue. But for schools, not all schools are going to offer that, and it's probably a good 6 months to a year out. It's not easy to just integrate something into a healthcare institution, because there's a lot of policies and procedures to do that. But for individuals that aren't, I'm also president of the National Gay and Lesbian Chiropractic Association, and I made that also so patients can then basically say, hey, look, I live in Omaha, Nebraska. I'm looking for an LGBT provider. And I have a pretty big resource of that, so I either connect them or I'll reach out to my community in Omaha and say, hey, who do we have here? Because it's a huge need, and it's a huge opportunity to serve a community that's really loyal. And I love working with them. I mean, I have an office that's amazing, and I love, and I have this diverse community, and I start working about half an hour, and I'm super jazzed because I go full Friday, which is always awesome.
Awesome. Yeah, I think, one thing that I really heard you say, and one thing that I really picked up for myself is, I personally want to go to LGBT office and just, because increase my comfort level in that environment, just be around people, because, as a straight white male and living in Oregon for so long, I haven't had a lot of those opportunities. And so, even as a chiropractic patient, that's a perfect opportunity. It's a perfect space for somebody like me to become more comfortable in that environment, because I think it works both ways. Like maybe the LGBT community is not as comfortable coming to a straight office, but also the straight person also has to get a certain amount of comfort level there as well. So thanks.
What's been interesting with the name LGBT Chiropractic, I wasn't really sure what my patient base was going to be like. 60% of my patients identify as straight. So I have a huge straight community that comes into my office, and oftentimes they'll say, hey, I'm straight, is that okay? The tagline in my office is LGBT Chiropractic is inclusive of all communities. So I don't discriminate against the heteronormative society. I am happy to help someone that is LGBT or S or straight. But what it does do is it brings a certain type of patient in. Any straight patient that's going to come into an office that's LGBT is going to be LGBT friendly, is going to be very open, is going to be very supportive of the community. So it makes for this really fun kind of energy, because I'll go out and see these patients and they'll be like, oh, there's Dr. Angel and his husband, and I have pictures of my husband in my office, and it just it kind of shows me that there's this shift where LGBT and the straight community are really starting to integrate together. And my goal was never to exclude the straight community, but it was just to provide a safe space for the LGBT community. But it's turned into this great synergy where I just have this really diverse community of everybody that comes in here, and it's just people feel really comfortable and safe no matter how they identify, which is just was my goal, and it's happened, and I feel it's really great. So anyone, for example, yourself, you identify as straight, trust me, if people know you're LGBT friendly, if you put your preferred gender pronoun on there, people are going to be like, oh my gosh, this guy's so cool, because it's not that someone necessarily needs to see an LGBT doctor. They just need to see someone that's competent and going to be respectful and is going to be welcoming of them, and they're not going to feel judged. Like, the interesting thing about chiropractic is we see our patients a lot more than the average provider. So sometimes you're seeing patients 3 times a week. You get to know them really, really well. And it's one of those things that's the beauty of it. That's why I decided to become a chiropractor. Is I wanted to be able to build these relationships with individuals in my community, and at the end of the day be like, you know what, I'm making a difference in people's lives, and I can say that I'm doing that. And the way I do that is I just accept everyone that comes through my door, no matter who they are, what their background is, how they present, whoever they are, they're welcome. And I feel like every chiropractor should be that way, right? We should, if the goal is service and serving, you should, in my opinion, you should then make sure to be a servant is basically learning all communities and accepting them for them. And if it's a community you don't know, learn about them, which I'm so happy you're doing this video, because here's another little rainbow-filled community you can learn about.
Thank you. Yeah, I totally agree. I'm a big proponent of your mental attitude, and I love that you brought up how important acceptance and openness is in terms of your mental attitude. So no matter who you are, you can always work on being more accepting, more open to experiences and to other people, and just like creating that sense of community. And that's something I've noticed that I feel like you've been so good at is, you kind of created this target market, but in doing that, you were increasingly successful with people outside of that target market. So, I mean, I just wanted to commend you on that. I thought that was brilliant, and I'm so glad you've been successful doing that.
Thank you, and me too. It was, it's been a very pleasant surprise. But I think the secret is just living a life of congruency. And I feel like I've really been able to do that. Because when I first graduated, I didn't know if being out in practice was relevant. I remember I graduated from Life West. I worked at an office in Oakland for a while. And I was like, should I be out to my patients? And I didn't come out. I was in the closet for the first like 3 months of practice. And then I remember one day I had this patient that I felt like I should come out to, but I was nervous to, and I was like, I'm just going to do it. And it went really well. And then I realized, like, you know what, this does matter, because I want to be my authentic, congruent self, and I don't want to have to hide anything. And I don't want my patients to feel like they should hide anything. So if I put all my cards out on the table, there's a very good chance they're going to put all their cards out on the table. And then it just really allows for the connection and the healing and the being a healer to happen. Because if you're hiding things from people, you can't truly connect with them.
Yeah, completely. I think that authenticity is so important, and that was just such a beautiful story how you were able to do that, and then in doing that to recognize all the success, you know, to be able to put yourself out there in that way and be your authentic self, and how that created so much success for you. So thank you so much for sharing that. So last thing I have for you is, how do people get in touch with you? How do people learn more? Of course, I'll put the links to the videos in the YouTube video, but is there any other way that people can reach out to get in touch with you?
Yeah, there's a ton of ways. So a lot of my patient base are millennials, so I have become very social media competent. So Facebook is a great way to get to know me. You can find my practice, LBGT Chiropractic, on Facebook. You can find myself, Angel Ochoa-Rea. That's R-E-A is the last part. On Facebook. I'm also on Instagram as Dr. Angel Ochoa-Rea. Those are all really good ways to get a hold of me. Also can go on my website and email me. My email address is on there. So my website is lgbtchiro.com. Those are probably the easiest ways to get a hold of me. If you email me or Facebook message me or any of those things, I will get back to you.
Perfect. Thank you for sharing that with everybody. So thanks for being here, and thanks to the audience for watching this video. And again, you know, this is DC to be Revolution. I'm just really trying to invest in chiropractic, spread the word, you know, help people to think big in order to live large. And so please like this video or subscribe to our channel or leave a comment below. So thanks again.